Of course, on top of our minds is Premier Energies. Premier Energies is the largest solar cell exporter to the US market in FY 2024. Ahead of its IPO, Premier Energies mobilized 646 crores through anchor investors, which included the names like Nomura, BlackRock, PGGM, Government Pension Fund Global, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, Morgan Stanley, to name a few. How does this one look? I think there's a consensus aggressive buy call on Premier Energies. Would you agree, Asta? Because even the numbers were phenomenal, and with the government's commitment to green energy, this cannot be missed, I would imagine. And of course, there's marquee clientele as well.
Yes, you are absolutely right, because the kind of concept it is into, that is into the solar cell manufacturing as well as solar module manufacturing. So I think the kind of business they are into, it is really very hot, and the government's support is totally there with this sort of business. Along with that, what a financial performance they have shown. I mean, a strong CAGR growth both in the top line, bottom line. In fact, a marquee set of clients they have, and the order book is also on the higher side. So looking after all this, the valuation has now become a prime focus of any IPO, and the valuations are also reasonable because they are coming at somewhere at around price to earning multiple of 27. This is, I'm considering the post-issue IPO, where I've annualized the Q1 profit after tax for the company. So it is at around 27. And if I compare it to the peer, then it looks to be very reasonable. So this company is looking very strong. And one more important point, which I would like to highlight, that why we are getting such a strong demand and good names in the anchor list, because if the IPO size is big, then definitely it always attract good names, because most of the mutual fund, they never want to put the money in the small size IPO. Some of their compliances always, come in front of them, and that is why. So good mutual funds and strong names from the foreign investors also comes usually in the big size IPO, which is more than 1,000 crore, 2,000 crores, etc. So here the size of IPO is also big, and the kind of theme they are into. And this company has a huge track record because it is a 29-year-old company with a strong management. So putting all these things together, this seems to be a very strong candidate for putting the money into it. And we are recommending to apply this IPO both from the listing gain perspective, because most of the retail investors, they majorly interested into the listing day premium or listing day pop. So it is a good IPO both from the listing day purpose as well as for the long-term purpose. But here I would like to add one more point, that if anyone will be lucky enough to get the allotment, then please put this stock into your portfolio, because it will be giving a very strong return in the long term also, because they have expanded a lot in the last few years, and now it's a time to get the results. And that is why we have seen some sort of volatility in the financials also, because they have done some sort of expansion in the past. So looking after all this, we are recommending subscribe to our clients as well as to your viewers to go for this IPO, both from the listing gain perspective as well as long-term perspective.
I completely understand. It's an opportunity to invest in this company, and if you're lucky, you may get an allocation to Premier Energies. But just important to draw out risk as well, because this is a company that does face intense competition. They also in the past faced challenges of underutilization and historical losses, even though I do know that FY24 was rather positive. Any concerns that one needs to be mindful of? Because beyond listing day, if an investor would like to buy and hold it for the next maybe 1 to 2 years, is this advisable in your opinion from where we stand today?
So like addressing the concerns which you have highlighted, first of all, I want to say that yes, competition is there, but the industry demand is so strong and the government's focus is so high that even if some competition come, then it will not going to affect the business of the company. So that is the major thing which we believe that will not going to harm in any case, because the kind of demand for the product is really high. So that is one answer to the concerns related to the competition. Secondly, if we talk about the listing day buying, because here for the retail, the number of issues are somewhere around 2 crores, I suppose. Beg your pardon if I might be wrong with the figures, but it is somewhere at around 2 crores. So the number of shares are not that very high. And the subscription amount, I think, will gonna be very high, because the kind of business the company is into, it will definitely going to attract the investors' attention. So my idea here is not to buying on the listing day, because we are already expecting listing to be on a very, very strong note. It might be more than 30-40% premium, which we can see on the listing day itself. So putting the money after 30-40% pop-up is not advisable. So wait for some time to, have a dip in the stock and then make an entry into the counter. This is what we advise for the listing day purpose, because we know that the allotment will going to be very tough. The kind of attraction for this IPO is so high that definitely it will be going to very tough if the allotment we talk about. So if anyone will not get any allotment, then they should not buy on the listing day. Wait for some fall and then make entry into this count.
So don't get hasty. That's the sum of it all. Premier Energies does have a robust order book. They've also turned positive in recent times. The industry is in the high growth stage with the government initiatives that the company could benefit from. But of course, looking at all factors, risk and opportunities, valuations, Asta does recommend investors to subscribe to this issue with a long-term view, but do not buy it on listing day, because a big gap up is what we are expecting. Well, moving on from there, we'll quickly hear out what the management of Premier Energies also has to say.
Post-COVID, we have seen a great growth story building up in the solar manufacturing sector in India. Not only in India, across the world, post-COVID, everybody started thinking about, a China plus one strategy. India started the Atmanirbhar and Make in India. US has got its Inflation Reduction Act, where they're talking about Make in America. So the manufacturing story is now here to stay. It's growing at a fantastic speed, looking at the robust demand. We don't see any challenge from China. The import of cells from China are not a big issue today, because Indian solar story is a little different, where Indian government has two kinds of markets. One is where there is a very robust pipeline, which the government of India has set up for local manufacturers, and this market is totally protected for local manufacturers to grow the local manufacturing story. And then there is also another market, which is the developer market, where large power plants are being set up, where you can get solar cells from China, and cheaper the cells from China is a big advantage to the developers and to us as manufacturers to make modules for them at most effective cost. And how this helps is that while we are deploying as much solar as we can in India, because it's today the cheapest source of energy, we are also parallelly growing our manufacturing story. And it will not be far that, we will be totally Atmanirbhar